Christianity as the largest religion in Europe. Christianity has been practiced in Europe since the 1st century, and a number of the Pauline Epistles were addressed to Christians living in Greece, as well as Rome. According to a survey by the Pew Research Center in 2011, found that 75% of Europeans considered themselves Christians. Catholics were at the time of the survey the largest Christian group in Europe, accounting for more than 48% of European Christians. The second largest Christian group in Europe were the Orthodox, who made up 32% of European Christians. Although the Protestant Reformation began in Europe, only about 19% of European Christians were part of the Protestant tradition. Russia is the largest Christian country in Europe by population, followed by Germany and Italy. For at least a millennium and a half, Europe has been nearly equivalent to Christian culture, even though the religion was inherited from West Asia. Christian culture was the predominant force in Western civilization, guiding the course of philosophy, art, and science. Europe has a rich Christian culture, especially as numerous saints, martyrs and popes were European themselves. All of the popes from 741 to 2013 were from Europe. Europe brought together many of the Christian holy sites and heritage and religious centers. History Early history Historians believe that St. Paul probably wrote his first epistle to the Christians of Thessaloniki around AD 52. His epistle to the Galatians was perhaps written even earlier, between AD 48 and 50. Other epistles written by Paul were directed to Christians living in Greece and Rome between the 50s and 70s of the 1st century. The record of St. Dorotheus, Bishop of Tyre, is that the church at Tyre sent St. Aristobulus to Britain as bishop in AD 37. The church seems to have been begun by him around the Bristol Channel area, and 150 years later we have names of bishops recorded. By AD 550 there are recorded 120 bishops spread throughout the British Isles. Armenia was the first country in the world to adopt Christianity as its state religion in AD 301. The oldest state-built church in the world, Echmiadzin Cathedral, was built between AD 301 to 303. It is the seat of the Armenian Apostolic Church. The Roman Empire officially adopted Christianity in AD 380. During the early Middle Ages, most of Europe underwent Christianization, a process essentially complete with the Christianization of Scandinavia in the High Middle Ages. The emergence of the notion of Europe, or the Western world, is intimately connected with the idea of Christendom, especially since Christianity in the Middle East was marginalized by the rise of Islam from the 7th century, a constellation that led to the Crusades, which although unsuccessful militarily were an important step in the emergence of a religious identity of Europe. At all times, traditions of folk religion existed largely independent from official denominations or dogmatic theology. From the Middle Ages onwards, as the centralized Roman power waned in southern and central Europe, the dominance of the Catholic Church was the only consistent force in Western Europe. Movements in art and philosophy, such as the humanist movement of the Renaissance and the scholastic movement of the High Middle Ages, were motivated by a drive to connect Catholicism with Greek thought imported by Christian pilgrims. Easter-Euro-West Schism and Protestant Reformation the Easter-Euro-West Schism of the 11th century and the Protestant Reformation of the 16th tore Christendom into hostile factions. Following the Age of Enlightenment of the 18th century, atheism and agnosticism became widespread in Western Europe. 19th-century Orientalism contributed to a certain popularity of Buddhism, and the 20th century brought increasing syncretism, New Age and various new religious movements divorcing spirituality from inherited traditions for many Europeans. The latest history brought increased secularization, and religious pluralism. Cultural influences. Western culture, throughout most of its history, has been nearly equivalent to Christian culture, and many of the population of the Western Hemisphere could broadly be described as cultural Christians. The notion of Europe, and the Western world has been intimately connected with the concept of Christianity and Christendom. Many even attribute Christianity for being the link that created a unified European identity. Though Western culture contained several polytheistic religions during its early years under the Greek and Roman empires, As the centralized Roman power waned, the dominance of the Catholic Church was the only consistent force in Europe. Until the Age of Enlightenment, Christian culture guided the course of philosophy, literature, art, music and science. Christian disciplines of the respective arts have subsequently developed into Christian philosophy, Christian art, Christian music, Christian literature etc. Christianity had a significant impact on education and science and medicine as the Church created the basis of the Western system of education, and was the sponsor of founding universities in the Western world, as the university is generally regarded as an institution that has its origin in a medieval Christian setting. Many clerics throughout history have made significant contributions to science, and Jesuits in particular have made numerous significant contributions to the development of science. The civilizing influence of Christianity includes social welfare, founding hospitals, economics, politics, architecture, literature and family life. Although the Protestant Reformation was a religious movement, it also had a strong impact on all other aspects of European life: marriage and family, education, the humanities and sciences, the political and social order, the economy, and the arts. Denominations: Roman Catholicism. European countries or areas with significant Catholic populations are Andorra, Austria, West Belarus, Belgium, Croatia, France, South Germany, Hungary, Ireland, Italy, Latgale region in Latvia, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Monaco, Poland, Portugal, San Marino, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Central and South Switzerland, West Ukraine and Vatican City. There are also large Catholic minorities in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Albania, the United Kingdom, and the Netherlands. In the Czech Republic, Catholics are 10% of the population. In Serbia and Romania, Catholics constitute over 5% of the overall population. Eastern Rite Catholicism, also known as Eastern Catholic Churches, is found mostly in western Ukraine and southern Italy. It also exists in very small numbers in Russia, Serbia, Slovenia, France. Eastern Orthodox Christianity. The countries with significant Eastern Orthodox populations are Belarus, Bulgaria, Cyprus, Georgia, Greece, Macedonia, Moldova, Montenegro, Romania, Russia, Serbia, Ukraine, and Kazakhstan. Eastern Orthodox Christians are a large minority in Bosnia and Herzegovina and Albania. Small minorities of Eastern Orthodox Christians live in Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Armenia, Poland, easternmost Hungary and southern Italy. Oriental Orthodox Christianity. The only country in Europe with a significant Oriental Orthodox population is Armenia, which has a large Oriental Orthodox majority. Protestantism, predominant in northern European countries. Significant Protestant populations are found in Denmark, Estonia, Finland, the northern part of Germany, Iceland, Latvia, Norway, Sweden, the United Kingdom, and the east, north and west of Switzerland. There are significant Protestant minorities in France, the northwestern Piedmont region of Italy, Slovakia, the southern part of Germany, and the eastern part of Hungary. Smaller minorities live in the eastern part of Germany, Austria, the Czech Republic, Poland, the Netherlands, Ireland, Serbia and Romania. Anglicanism is the largest denomination in the United Kingdom, with a large minority in Northern Ireland, and smaller numbers in the Republic of Ireland, Malta, Scotland, Spain and Portugal. Communities also exist throughout Europe, particularly in large cities and other regions where British expat communities live. Calvinism is predominant in North and West Switzerland, and there are minorities in Germany and Hungary. Lutheranism is prevalent in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Iceland, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, northern and western Germany and the Netherlands. There are also minorities throughout Europe, particularly in southern Germany, Hungary and Alsace and Lorraine, with smaller numbers in Austria, Poland, Romania, Switzerland, Italy and the United Kingdom. Methodism is an important minority denomination in both Great Britain and Ireland. Presbyterianism is dominant in Scotland, with a large minority in Northern Ireland, and smaller numbers in England and Wales, Ireland and Malta. References. See also, Conference of European Churches, Religion in Europe, Religion in the European Union, Islam in Europe, Christianity by country, Roman Catholicism by country, Protestantism by country, No faith by country, List of religious populations, Major world religions.